As an entrepreneur running my own practice 5 years ago, my family, myself, and my brothers as well as my mom were all clubbed together in a group medical insurance plan. The reason we did this as a business was to keep the operating costs lower. To give you some context for this, a group medical insurance policy usually tends to be cheaper than purchasing individual medical insurance plans. But most group medical insurance policies follow a different renewal pattern. And the renewal pattern and the renewal premiums of the policy are based on the usage of the entire group. For this reason, most entrepreneurs tend to put their families in the same group medical insurance contract as the rest of their employees. The problem with that we have to consider is the rest of your employees may have a very different travel itinerary, may have a very different lifestyle, may have a very different need for medical care. They might use clinics and hospitals which are not included in your network as an entrepreneur. So consider this, consider parking the two policies separately. Consider having the business decisions of your business be made by your CFO for the group employee benefits. And consider your own medical insurance policy to be paid for by your company, but keep that separately as an individual plan. Now, the instant issue you will face by doing this is that your individual medical insurance premiums are going to be more expensive than if you were clubbed with your group. However, the benefits of doing this far outweigh the cost savings. And the benefits over here really are, as an individual, if you now, God forbid, contract a medical condition which requires regular treatment or requires more intensive treatment, then as an individual medical insurance policy, that policy can be continued lifelong, and the coverage on that policy will continue for the rest of your life as well. Treatment can be done at your will within the limitations of your policy, and assuming you've purchased the right kind of international cover at the onset, this policy can be eternal for you. The advantage of also having this contract in place is, in most cases, if you've used international medical insurers, then the usage of that policy does not determine the hike in premiums the following year. Most of these medical insurance policies in individual schemes tend to be what we call community rated schemes, and your personal usage may not determine the premium hike to your policy the following year. We've seen this happen several times where clients have purchased group medical insurance policies for their employees, and as entrepreneurs, for the price savings of 10 or 15%, have put their families in those medical insurance policies as well. And years later, when a medical condition has cropped up, they've now come back to go back to the international insurer and say, hey, would you be interested in taking me on as an individual client? In most cases, the insurance company will say yes, depending upon the medical condition. However, that price point of the premium then begins from that date based on the pre-existing conditions. So if you are in good health today and don't have any pre-existing conditions or nothing critical or serious, then my recommendation to you as an entrepreneur is separate yourself from your employees' group medical insurance plan. If this has to be a business decision, let the premiums of your individual coverage be paid for by your company, but segregate the two plans in a manner where your family and you enjoy individual medical insurance, whereas the rest of the business enjoys a group employee benefits medical insurance plan. I'd like to describe this a little better with a case study of one of my clients. So this client of ours has been our client for over 18 years now. And initially when he purchased his medical insurance, he purchased it as part of his large group. His group consists of about 700 employees, and he decided, together with his brothers and his parents and his kids, that they would be part of the company's group medical insurance policy. To give you an idea, most of his employees tend to be blue-collar workers, where the requirement for medical insurance is rarely ever the larger hospitals and clinics. So what the company decided to do was purchase the contract in a tiered manner, where all the blue-collar workers had access to certain networks of hospitals and clinics which were closer to their area of living, and the rest of the staff were given executive policies, and the family was given the third tier of a higher-end medical insurance policy with the same insurer. Needless to say, if you consider this, one single insurer may not be able to cater to all three segments in the right manner. They may be specializing in the blue-collar workers, but now we've asked them to take on even the high net worth, the entrepreneur and his family. While they can provide the cover, it may not be the most efficient cover and it may not be the best level of cover in place. And what we saw with this client is over the last 12 years or so, one of his brothers developed a medical condition which required them to seek out treatment in the US. Now, to give you an idea, his high-end medical insurance cover with a low-end insurer as part of his company group benefits gave him a coverage of in total 1.8 million dirhams as a group medical insurance plan. It gave him access to the US as a market as well for medical treatment. However, that 1.8 million dirhams would not be sufficient to take care of the medical condition that has come on now in one given year. So the family today has decided that they need to now migrate to an international insurer. Needless to say, when they migrate to an international insurer for just the family, this condition becomes a pre-existing condition, and while the law dictates that the condition needs to be covered, the law does not dictate what is the new premium the insurance companies have to adhere to. Needless to say, as a business decision, an insurance company is justified in charging a ridiculously high premium for this specific condition for this specific individual. So, however, if the client had purchased this contract as an individual plan 5 years ago, 10 years ago, pre this condition taking place, the insurance company would have given them what we call standard rates, and over the years this condition would have been covered, and it then becomes what we also call a one-way street, which means that an insurance company cannot pull the plug on the cover. It's up to the client to decide to cancel the policy if he's unsatisfied with the benefits of the service. The takeaway over here is, if you are a successful entrepreneur running a large business, don't club yourself in the same medical insurance policies as the rest of your employees. And the reason to think of it differently is, as an entrepreneur, you probably drive a different car than your employees. You probably live in a different neighborhood than your employees. Your kids probably go to a different school than your employees, and your travel plans are different compared to the rest of your employees. So why then are you putting yourself through the same networks of hospital and clinics as the rest of your employees just because it's one big group plan? Make the right decision over there, and as an entrepreneur, segregate your family and give them the best medical insurance that you can, and provide your employees the best medical insurance that is needed for them.